Welcome to this overview. Someone invited you to have a look at it, and the idea is to give you enough of an idea so you get to know whether you'd like to hear more. In that case, get back to the person that introduced you and invited you to look at this, and hopefully I look forward to seeing you one day. So this is our business presentation. You won't need to turn your cell phones off. It's a little bit about me. I started in working life as a medical doctor, but I really, notice my next piece is about self-realization. One of the realizations I came to at that point was I really didn't feel comfortable making money out of what I felt was people's helplessness and despair. There's a number of things in medicine that are really valuable, but there's a lot of things that go on in medicine where we really don't know what we don't know. And I think that's been very obvious in what we've seen happen with the explosion of obesity and diabetes in the last 40 years. We've told people to do exactly the wrong stuff. So, so I was just really concerned about what we were doing and couldn't really live with myself in that profession. I was more interested in the whole personal journey, that experience of what yourself beyond your body and mind, what's beyond that. And so that became my profession for many years. And then I had some experience where both in medicine and in my own business we used to organize, lead and run seminars and workshops for people and do private work with people. And, there was never any relaxation time. You're always on, organizing something or not. So there was never that level of, having money and time working for you. It was either one or the other. And that's what really appealed to me when I first heard about network marketing way back in the 80s when I first heard about it. But I really got successful in network marketing for the first time after trying a couple of companies in 1990 when I was part of a company, and we had such an impact on my own mind and body with the products that I thought, gosh, I couldn't deny it. So that's when I got really excited, and I got up to $100,000 a year in that company, and various things happened to make that not be a long-term business. But it gave me a taste of what network marketing could give you in terms of a lifestyle. And as you can see there, I love being out in the outdoors. I love sharing the world with my family, and there's nothing that I've found so far in life that can deliver that like network marketing can. So that's why I'm passionate about that. And I'm passionate about people learning to take better care of themselves. After the last picture on the left, on the right there on the bottom, that's me just about to head into surgery. I thought I was living as healthy as I thought was possible, and still things happened to me. Cancer, bad blood fats, all those kind of things. So this piece here, we're also going to tell you a bit about nutrition that is really worthwhile taking a look at. But let's still stay on the business track. This is a really interesting thing. Most people are signed up for this 40-year plan. Often they didn't even really think that they were signing up for it, but this is what we've basically chosen. The idea that you work for 40 years and then you retire. It's called a 40-year plan. But what happens at the end of those 40 years, if you take 100 people on average who have got to 65, 1%, only 1% of those are wealthy. Now, how many of you would sign up for a plan or an idea knowing they had a 1% chance of success? Not many of us, right? A few more are financially stable, but that's still only 5%. So 5 out of 100, you're going to put 40 years into something, you've got that much chance of really being successful. Is that a good plan? Not sure. 5% are still working. 28% are unfortunately, or maybe for them, fortunately, they're dead. The biggest chunk are dead broke, and that dead broke was put by the people that did the stats. It was a governmental thing, I believe, in the US, similar to here. And but dead broke is dead broke. We know that. Just for me, I know my just simple rates and insurance. That's got to be for our property now. It's $5,000 a year. Now, if you're on the dole, like if you're not on the dole, whatever they call that old age pension, so at that point where you're you're 65 and you want to retire and you get $260 a week, it would take you 20 weeks of the year just to pay rates and insurance if I wanted to stay living here and I didn't have any extra income. So that's not a good picture, is it? You don't have an idea of a lifestyle when you're retired. Most people are just trying to get by, trying to spend as little as possible and really not enjoy life, to the best. So what are your options to earn additional income to see if you can, get into those 4%, that 1% and that 4%, or if you have got to that point, what else can you do? And these are the ideas that most people come up with. Work more hours if you can get it, get a second job, buy a franchise. They're not always risk-free franchises. Investments, definitely not risk-free. I've got some sad stories myself about that. Inheritance, that can be really good and it can be bad. You just need to learn how to manage money before you get one. I've learned that lesson as well. And or you can go back to school, or what a lot of people do, they win the lottery, try to win the lottery, and good luck with the stats on that. So really, 95% of the people spend 40 years of their working lives making the 5% wealthy. Have a think about that. Isn't that pretty much what those 95% have actually done? And are you one of those 95%? So the idea is that at that point you're actually working a plan for someone else's financial success, not your own. You get to have a job. You're essentially, nothing wrong with a job. They're good, they're important to have. But for a lot of us, it's just really selling our time for someone else's dream. And it's just a question mark of whether that's something we want to do or not. So we have a different plan, and this is a 2 to 5 year plan, and it's a plan for your financial success. We've got a proven business system, training and support, and I'm not saying that lightly. You really need to look into what we've got, from the whole team that's there to support you be successful in this. We're not about throwing you against a wall to see if you stick. We're here to actually be responsible and make sure you know exactly what you need to be successful here. And unlike traditional businesses or franchises where people want to protect their intellectual property, we want to give our intellectual property to people that are really committed to making this work. And that's something that really excites me, because I love getting paid for helping people get what they want out of life. I love getting paid for helping people live out their hopes and dreams. That's a lot better than getting paid for helping people who are sick and in despair about it. So that's one reason I love this industry. But look, no inventory, no territories, no limits on your income. 80% of the women that earn over $100,000 a year are doing that in network marketing. That's got to say something. There's no large investment, no employees, and no boss. That can be good or bad depending on how you relate to your inner boss. So welcome to Youngevity. This is what we have. There's a whole core, the core of our products are 90 for life, and that's what we're going to talk about here. We're going to talk about business, but in terms of products, we're really just going to talk about 90 for life. But look about all those other things we've got there, from coffee and healthy chocolate to scrapbooking and green energy. Not all of these are available in New Zealand, but they are coming. And it is a worldwide global business, of course, and you can get people involved in those areas, fashion and jewelry, up in the States, even from little old New Zealand. So a diverse array, and we buy companies in all the time and expand what we make available to people. So there's a lot more than meets the eye to what we've got to offer here. A little bit about us. We were founded in '97. Got global headquarters in San Diego, a couple of other headquarters in Boston and Salt Lake City, and Auckland, New Zealand. How about that? Auckland, New Zealand is one of the places on the map. We're just about to open up Asia, and the company is really focusing on global expansion this year. Now, some of the principles of the company, those first three on the left there at the top, in the middle picture, I'll tell you about them. Joel Wallach, Dr. Joel Wallach in the middle, the little guy. He's about my height. He You'll hear his story in a minute. His son on the left with the red tie, Steve Wallach, and the lady in the blue jacket. So there's this lady in the picture over on the right, Mary Lou Henner. Who would have known that the lady from Taxi, that's how I remembered her, ends up being one of the principals of this company. And she's a passionate health advocate. And all of these people are here not because they're being paid to be here, but because they believe in the message that Dr. Joel Wallach is putting out. I'll just tell you one simple story of Theo Ratliff down there. You've probably heard of the NBA, so basketball in the States, and the team, the Lakers. He was with them. 6 years into that, he blew out both his knees and was told by his doctors and coaches, best doctors obviously you can afford, that, sorry, Theo, your career is over. Joel Wallach got a hold of that story and invited Theo to have a look at doing something different. And as unbelievable it was to him that his doctors weren't actually right on, he still knew he wanted to play basketball. And so he trusted in Dr. Wallach and went back playing the very next year. Ended up playing, I think, another 8 or 10 years and earned another $60 million out of that extra year. So you can see why these people, when we talk about celebrity brand ambassadors, they are here for a reason. And I just realized I clicked the slide, but ygyi.com is we are, and you can look us up on the net in terms of our investors profile, and ygyi.com is a great site to look at. Now, here's what it comes down to. Dr. Joel Wallach, very, very interesting man. Started off life as a farmer's son. Started to appreciate even then that they were feeding animals a lot better. Like his father was feeding a stock a lot better than he was feeding the family in terms of looking after their mineral nutrition and certain core elements that they just assumed people were getting. So then he became isn't it interesting, then he became an agricultural soil scientist. He then became a vet. And in that process, he wrote a book. He was involved in, government programs to look at, like an animal that might have been the canary in the coal mine to show us environmental toxins and the effect on animals before it got to people. So he was a comparative pathologist. He did tens of thousands of autopsies and slide. Some of that's just histological, like looking at the cells in a slide, and some of it was, obviously, full-on autopsies. He, was even responsible for when some of the young men, soldiers died in Vietnam, of natural causes, not by bullets and bombs and stuff like that. He would have to do the autopsies on them. So he did human autopsies as well as animal autopsies. He ended up writing a book which ended up in the Smithsonian Museum. Some of us don't really know about that, but that's one of those famous museums in the States where they keep real core bodies of knowledge. And it's called the Exotic Diseases of the Healing, something like Diseases of Exotic Animals. And he really looked at. He says that they've handled 900 diseases in animals that are still plague humans, and he says that any animal that died of natural causes was essentially dying of a deficiency disease, particularly a mineral deficiency disease. And he then became a naturopathic doctor, and in the States, a naturopathic physician can do everything a GP can do over here. They can deliver babies, they can prescribe drugs, and they can perform minor surgery. It's quite different to what we understand in New Zealand as a naturopath. So think about that. Here's this guy who started to understand about deficiencies in an early age, finds out how to handle 900 diseases in animals, becomes a naturopathic doctor like a natural GP over there, and then as patients affectionately call him, he says he treats you like a dog, but you get better. That whole reference to him having been a vet. And that's a fascinating story. He's fought the FDA and won, I think, 7 or 7.5 times. I heard a half the other day. And it's only because of him that in the States they can say that selenium, can minimize certain cancers. And there's other things that they can say in the States now, or like essential fatty acids can help, decrease your risk of dementia. It's only because of Joel Wallach that anyone selling those products in the US, not just his company, but anyone selling those products can make those claims because he has made a stand for that. Many people will have heard about him through the Dead Doctors Don't Lie CD, or it was originally a tape. And if you haven't heard of that tape or heard him talk himself, highly recommend you do that. And you can just Google it online; you'll be able to get to hear it. But there are, proper CDs and DVDs you can listen to. He's been published 75 times. Prolific guy. Some people call him the founder of epigenetics. That whole idea where if doctors don't understand a disease, they really basically say, "Oh, it must be genetic." And what Wallach showed in terms of those 900 diseases is what we understand as epigenetics, which is what determines how your genes express themselves, meaning which genes turn on and which genes turn off, is the environment they live in. And what determines the environment our genes live in? Well, that's the food and the drinks. Whatever we put into our body, that provides the environment for our genes. So isn't that interesting, that if our environment isn't getting the right genes turned on or having the wrong genes turned on, then, that's where we need to work with our environment, and that's what he really understood. Now, he's not alone in this. He's created a great advisory board behind him. I'll just mention a few of these. Dr. Gerhard Schrauzer up there is the world's foremost expert on selenium. Interesting, isn't it, that we used to think, well, there's still that thought that in New Zealand we have high, colon cancer and breast cancer and stuff like that because of our meat and dairy, high meat and dairy consumption. But don't you think it's interesting that the countries with the lowest selenium count, and we know New Zealand's low, and South Island's virtually got none, there's more on the North Island, but Central Plateau's got none, that's why they have to grow pine trees up there. Sheep just wouldn't grow up there. And so isn't it interesting that in countries with the lowest selenium content have the highest rates of lung, breast, colon, and prostate cancer? Don't you think that's interesting? Could that be the issue? I mean, for us it's still an association, it's not proven, but could that be a real issue rather than the issue with meat and dairy? It's worthwhile thinking about, definitely worthwhile researching. And so that's one guy. Dr. Wallach, even though he gives doctors, medical doctors a hard time, because really they talk about a lot of things they don't know about. And I can testify to that, having been one myself at one point. And but Dr. Malan is his wife. She is an MD, taught microsurgery at Harvard. Lovely lady. Ben Fuchs, a pharmacist and nutritionist, a rare bird at that. Couldn't carry on in all good conscience like myself with prescribing drugs. Peter Glidden, a naturopathic physician like Joel Wallach, says that he doesn't know what planet he's on now. He's undiscovered longevity because nothing. He says that there are no supplements that have what we've got in it. So he's fantastic. You can research him as well. He's got a lot of great information there. So he's got Dr. Wallach's got a great advisory board behind him. So we're not just talking about one man here. There's a whole army there behind us. Now, isn't the challenge clear that chronic disease is on the rise despite trillions of dollars being spent on it? We are 17th globally in overall life expectancy, which is not great. It's not bad, but it's not great. Diabetes is getting really bad here. 7% of New Zealanders over the age of 15 have diabetes, and at the moment, my GP is shocked at how much pre-diabetes is in his practice with people. And look at the statistic from the New Zealand Medical Association journal. 55% of people in the 55 to 64-year age group have pre-diabetes. Now that's bound to bump up that figure of 7%. Cancer, interesting enough, if you look at that government health statistics, if you add up the heart and cerebrovascular disease, that means like strokes and heart attacks, that used to be bigger than cancer. But if you add up those statistics in that publication, all of a sudden in 2011, cancer actually overtook heart and cerebrovascular disease. That has got to be interesting. And obesity. We love being number one, but this is not something to be close to number one. And we're actually pegged to go up to number two when the stats are redone in November this year. That's not a good look. So this is something, Joel Wallach, we teach people how to eat as well as how to get what they're not eating. Now, Joel Wallach's been on the right side of the cholesterol issue for the last 40 years, when 99.99999% of doctors were touting the idea that cholesterol was bad for you. Here's a man who's been telling the opposite story for the last 40 years. On top of that, he's been telling a story that most doctors aren't even thinking about yet. And that's it's not just what you eat that kills you, it's what you don't eat. And that's where he pinned it down, those 900 diseases, he pins it down to 90. 90 for life became our slogan before we added one more nutrient. So it's actually 91 essential nutrients, but 90 for life has just stuck, it's got that ring to it. So even if you consider yourself healthy, you still need to get this 90 for life. It's a bit like oxygen and water. As long as you plan living, you better have oxygen and water on board. Well, there are basically essential nutrients that our body simply cannot make from whatever we give it. And if those nutrients aren't in the soil, then the animals can't get it, the plants can't get it, and therefore, makes common sense, we can't get it. And it's understanding that simple fact that helps you realize that you've got to get those 90 essential nutrients for you to have optimally, to live as long as you want. You know, interesting thing like Joel talks about is we've doubled and nearly tripled. A dog year used to live till about 10 years old. That's where one dog year was equal to 7 human years, and that's where that old story came from. And but nowadays dogs are living 20 plus years, but humans are still living around 70. So we've actually feeding our pets better. They are actually living longer. But we're not doing that same thing with people, and that's what Joel Wallach wants to wake people up to. Now he's packaged those 90 essential nutrients into this simple, what would you call it? Triple thing here. And the tangy tangerine, that's the orange one. It's a drink you'd have twice a day. Makes it up in powder. It comes in powder. You mix it up in water. I have it morning and afternoon. In fact, I'll have a sip of it right now because my mouth's getting a bit dry. Thank you for waiting. The EFA Plus, so the tangy tangerine has the bulk of the nutrients, the bulk of the 90. The EFAs has the 3 essential fatty acids, and this is, if you want to avoid things like dementia and Parkinson's and other brain things, then essential fatty acids are really important. And there's a lot of issue about essential fatty acids because in New Zealand there's no regulations, and sometimes they either don't have the essential fatty acid they say in the capsule, or they've been degraded. Now these are protected in the capsule. They've got nitrogen in the capsule to drive the oxygen out. So that means there's no oxygenation going on, so you don't get you don't get free radicals in there with your essential fatty acids. You get the clean essential fatty acid. And it's a fantastic product. And the Beyond OsteoFX is, given the name, so obviously it's more of some of those key 90 for the bones and joints. And that's good to have. The essential fatty acids you have like 3 times a day with your meals. And the Beyond Osteo, it's really nice last thing at night before you go to sleep. Calcium can be really good to help sleep. Now, not all supplements are created equal. Most mineral supplements on the market are derived from elemental minerals, and they're only about 10% absorbable. So that means 90% of what you're putting in your body just goes down the toilet. Not a good use of resources. Whereas plants convert elemental minerals into more usable forms. And Youngevity's 90 for Life minerals include plant-derived minerals like that group of people, that dark stuff they're standing in front of, that's a mineral mine in Utah. And it's like millions of years worth of compacted stuff, and that white layer at the top of the canyon there, that's been limestone that's been protecting it from oxygenation and water for millions and millions of years. And so you can go along to that, you can actually scrape that off with your fingers, it's so friable, and that's what they use, because the plant-derived minerals will actually go straight into your body. They're actually 98% absorbable. And when it comes to getting results, and we do say we compete on results, a lot of people use Dr. Wallach's tape to promote their own products. But I've heard of people that bought those products thinking they were getting the real stuff, only to hear about Dr. Wallach being, doing a meeting in town. He still talks about 300 meetings a year at 74. That's how much of a mission he's on. And they suddenly, these people realized they were actually not on Dr. Wallach's products and got on the real stuff, and then got results when they weren't getting them before. So as we say, results mean everything because it's got to be absorbable, because unless it actually gets into your body, it's just passing through. Now all those 900, it's a really interesting slide, this, because all those 900 diseases basically are different tissues get affected, and basically different tissues need different nutrients. Every cell needs all the nutrients, and that's why in each of these packs you'll see all those three, the 90 for Life are there, the Tangy Tangerine, the Beyond Osteo FX, and the EFAs, they're all in each pack. But to support specific processes and functions in the body, it's not about curing disease, it's not about fixing disease. It's about feeding the body's natural structure and function so the body can better take care of itself. So these are the specific nutrients that are useful to help in these specific areas. Weight loss, obviously, there's an extra product there to help the body actually want to release the fat. Athletic pack, obviously, athletes sweat a lot, and you don't just sweat out water, you sweat out the minerals. And if you're already mineral deplete, you're sweating out even, your lifeblood in a sense. So they need more mineral replacement. Digestion, obviously, you've got issues with your digestion, and there's things for probiotics and digestive enzymes in there, and a bunch of other things. Brain and heart pack, that really should be called the brain, heart and lung pack. So it's really about the soft tissues of the body, things you've got going on there. Bone and joint pack, obviously any pain and swelling and things going on in your bones and joints, or poor bone quality. The blood sugar pack, the whole idea of chromium and vanadium being particularly important elements for helping your body manage its blood sugar levels. So most of us, it's pretty simple for us to, if you haven't got any of those issues, then the 90 for Life is a perfect pack for you. Whereas if you've got one of those issues, then you should know it, and then you know which one to pick. Now here are some people that just did the Healthy Body Challenge. Obviously, it's so easy to, show pictures of people having lost weight, and it gives you a bit of an idea if you can transpose what you see as those results. And it's not just they got lost weight and that was it. They lost weight and they stayed losing weight. That's where you want to be. Imagine those results in terms of your management of your blood sugar, or your bones and joints, or things going on with your brain, heart and lungs, or your weight. Your weight's here, and athletes looking at improving performance and getting better recovery and all that kind of stuff. And those are the kind of results. I've been working in the supplement industry since 1990, and I can uncategorically state that I have never seen, like Dr. Peter Glidden, I've never seen the kind of results happen so consistently and so quickly as I am with Dr. Wallach's products. So you just got to try them. So we do recommend you take the challenge, because we each have our own personal challenges, whether it's losing weight, getting fit, gaining energy, or getting healthy. What's your challenge? Make sure you're up. Know it's a challenge. It's going to be hard, but choose your hard. Choose your hard, and get the right tools to help you with that. So choose your challenge, set your goal for where you want to go, choose your pack. Tell everyone. Partly the reason for that is that you can get more accountability. A few of you say doing the healthy weight body, that weight one, supporting each other. Because there is diet as well as nutrients involved in this. It's not just taking a magic pill and expecting to get better. There is work involved, and it's easier to do that when you've got a team around you doing it than just you by yourself. It's just a bit like New Year's resolutions, isn't it? Another benefit of that is that if you share this with people and you're in a Healthy Body Start Pack and you have 3 friends that each start with a Healthy Body Start Pack in any given month, your next month's pack is free. Your friends can do exactly the same thing, and you can do that any month you want to, or every month you want to. But this is really where we start to switch coins. So far we've been talking about one side of the coin of longevity, the 90 for life, the wellness in your body and mind. This is about a different vitamin, one that's lacking for most of us. Remember, only 5% of the population are either financially stable or well off. What about the other 95? Obviously some of them are dead, but the rest of them are having trouble with one major vitamin. It's called vitamin M. M for money. And it's not wrong to want money and have it work for you in your life. Money is actually a good thing. You can do things with it. You can even buy better quality food with it. How many people, it's often the poor people that eat cheapest foods that are the sickest. They're not doing that because they're dumb. They're doing it because they don't have the money. And because if you had money, you'd have better choices. And that's what, it's not wrong to want that and to want money and time work better in your life. Now, Youngevity's products are designed to provide total wellness inside and out. And this is where our business model really starts. Now, you can start with that first option, $17.25 for a one-off membership. Customers, by the way, they don't have to pay any joining fee or anything. They just buy the same price as everyone else does, direct from the company. They get it wholesale direct. And for us, it's shipped from Albany. And so you can start with $17.25 as a member and a Healthy Start Pack, and then you'll start making money on top of you're getting free Healthy Start Packs as well. But if you really want to be successful here, we have to put this site up to be technically correct and politically correct. But to be politically incorrect, to really start and make this really work well, you really need to start with a CEO pack. Why? Because your time is your most valuable asset. And you're going to be doing the same work whether you start with number 1 or number 2. Number 2 just gives you more things that actually reward you more. We'll talk about some of those. So here's the fast track to success. With some companies, it takes between 12 and 20 people in your organization doing the same as you to get your money back. And when you start a business, often that's what you're looking at is, how soon am I going to get my money back? If you started a franchise, that could take years. If you started your own business, that could take years too. And then again, you could lose your shirt. Here, look at this. If you have 4 people that you introduce with our help, remember we've got a special training to help you do this. So don't try and do this straight from this presentation. Let us train you first. So here, if you had introduced 4 people with a CEO Mega Pack with our help, then, and you did that in the first month, say, then you're getting $732 back. And if you're GST registered, you get $841. So you've more than paid your own product, your own CEO packs, more than paid for. So there you go. That's what you can do, and we can show you how you can do this in as little as a week. Now this is beyond that first purchase. What we want to do is, you saw the range at the beginning. Basically, people, as we get more and more of that range into New Zealand, we've mainly got the 90 for life. We've got scrapbooking, we've got coffee, we've got the pet products, we've got the garden products, home products. We've got aromatherapy. We've got a few things, but we haven't got everything here. But imagine it. Of the idea, we've got collecting this whole range of things that will include fashion and jewelry and energy companies and everything. Imagine having 150 BV, that translates to about $250, $260 worth of New Zealand, of things that you're normally buying from someone out there, making, remember, 95% making the 5% wealthy? So you're buying it from somewhere and you're making those 1 to 5% wealthy. Why not buy it from your own store to help make your own people that you know wealthy, and you as well? So let's look at that. Once you're through to your to your monthly orders, if you had those 4 people that started off with a CEO pack, if the next month they did and you got your money back from that for the next month, we all go on to this idea of transfer shopping, and say you all bought just an average of 150 BV, which is about, again, 250, 260 New Zealand. That's not a lot. You would get about $48. These figures are in US dollars. Now that's not a lot, but it's the beginning, and every journey starts with some small steps. But remember, to do that, you also got your money back, so it's not really that small a step in that way. Now, what do those 4 people want to do? With your help and our help, they want to get their money back too. So when you help those people do that, and then the following month, those 4 people start transfer shopping, and then all of a sudden it starts to get a bit more interesting. That's $240 a month coming into your business. That's US dollars. So that more than pays for your monthly residuals, which I said was about 250, 260. Let's take it down one more level. Now, what I love about this level is when those 16 get their money back, and that goes through to the monthly shopping, then all of a sudden you're making 900 US, it's about 1,000 New Zealand. The interesting thing about this figure is that $1,000 a month would prevent most bankruptcies from happening. So this can be a significant figure. This one I love even more. The next level down, if you add all that up, that comes to 3,200 US, probably about 35, 3,800. I'm not an accountant, so don't ask me for that. It'll change with the exchange rate. But that's enough to bring somebody home from working in a job. Why is that important? Do you remember when you got home, your mum was there? If you're old enough, you'd remember that. How about your children being brought up by you, and you having the free time to enjoy them, take them to sports, do whatever you need with them, and build a business? That's radical. That can really change life. But this next level down, that takes it into another life altogether. Remember we said that 2 to 5 year plan? When I started, my first company I got successful with in the nutritional industry, I got to that level of 3,200 a month. I got to about that level in about 2 years. It was 2,000 a month back then. That was 1992. By 1994, I was earning 8,000 a month, 8 to 9,000 a month. So that's in this next level. Isn't that interesting? It was a 2 to 5 year journey for me. And no matter how good it was back then with that company, I know that company, nothing about that company compares to what you're looking at here with this company. You're only seeing a small piece of it with this overview. When you really look into it and you understand what you're looking at, believe me, nothing compares. So I fully expect to be a lot further ahead in 2 to 5 years with this company than I was with that one. And just this figure here, that comes to like 61,000 when you just go down one more level. That's kind of like, so for some people that's way over the top. We do have people earning that level of income. It's not necessarily everyone's aspiration. But if you looked at those figures there and decided which one would you be free at, I know for me, level 5, most people have a pretty good lifestyle if they're earning 12,000 US a month. That's 15,000 New Zealand a month. And in New Zealand, only about 1 or 2% of the population actually earn $100,000 a year or more. So that puts you in the top 1 to 2% of the working population. Staggering, isn't it, when you think about it? But it gets even better. We have this other process called the coding bonus. Now, I'm not going to tell you everything about the coding bonus because there is a video I highly recommend you look at for that. But it's the idea of get 4 to earn more. So when you get 4 CEOs, on that 4th one and beyond, you start earning CEO coding bonuses. And that can go from $15 to $190. And that is paid to true unlimited levels. There is no cap on that. And you'll need to look at the video to understand it. But what this has meant for our company is that we were a good and growing company. We got up to $20 million a year about 3 or 4 years ago. Since we added this bonus in, we have doubled our volume, nearly doubled it every year. Went from 20 to 40 to about 80 to now around about $160 million. So there's more to this than meets the eye, and it really does answer that question of there is the long-term money of the plan I just told you before, that 48, 240, 900, 3200. By the time you've earned decent money in that, you would have earned a lot of money in this as well. So this is kind of more immediate money that you can make as your organization grows. So it helps that idea of making that transition from part-time to full-time even quicker. And we do recommend this as a part-time thing at the beginning, not as a full-time thing, although some people have done that. The idea is to, if you can put in 5 to 10 hours a week, get up to the point where you can choose whether you work or not. That's the best way to approach it. There are 10 ways to get paid. We haven't talked about all of these, and I'm not going to talk about all of these, but we will talk about a couple more. The stock options are very exciting. Our stock has just recently doubled about doubled from 25 cents to I think 39 cents a stock. And the great thing is you can not just buy stock in a company, you can actually get stock options when you go up a rank. And it means you have true ownership in the company. And then I've been a stockholder in companies where I can do nothing apart from watch the stock go up and down helplessly. And here, I love the fact that I can do something to ramp the stocks up. How about that? Now the car bonus, and the previous company I talked to you about, where I was one of 2 people in New Zealand who became car qualified. And it says here we have the easiest to achieve car bonus in the industry. Now let me tell you, to get car qualified in here, I had to get 4 people to do the same as I did to get car qualified in my previous company. With this company, I would just have to get up to the same level, just me, without those 4 people, to get car qualified in this company. And guess what? You get car qualified, I give you an extra bonus between 300 and 1,000 US. But you don't even have to buy a car. You can decide what you want to do with that money. How about that? That's a totally unique concept. So, believe me when I say this company has got your back. Lots of recognition. Often people will work for a living but will die for recognition. Well, we don't want you to die, obviously, but we do want you to have lots of recognition. And I won't tell you about all this. You'll have fun discovering it. Lots of great marketing tools. We do look good. You can actually run this business straight off your iPhone or your smartphone if you want. And we're actually looking good and getting better. But don't let the tools fool you. The team and what we're going to teach you are the key principles to your success. Pay attention to that simple little fact, because that's what you want to get a handle on. Now, here's the key benefits we offer. Living younger and longer. Who wouldn't want to do that? Proven business model. Remember, we're not treating you like some piece of mud we're hoping you'll stick on the wall. We really do have a proven business model, and we want you to master that. Mastering that means you can make that 2 to 5 years a reality. Recognition and appreciation, talked a little bit about that. Training and support, talked a little bit about that. Being your own boss, there's really nothing better in the world. I love being my own boss. I love willable income. That's the thought. I've had my first 20 years of my life, I feel, was growing a body, learning what it's about. The next 20 years of my life was like getting to figure out who on earth I was. The next 20 years of my life, I had kids when I was 40, was actually being a family man. Because of being in the industry and for other reasons, I was able to have my life with my kids. Now the next 20 years of my life, I'm going to seriously create willable income. So I love the fact about this. And so that's where I'm up in my process. And you'll be in your own lifetime process with this, so you need to see where you're at. But that's where that really shines for me at the moment. And unlimited income potential. There's no difference whether you're a man or a woman. In fact, women do really well at this because they're better at building community. And that's one of the fascinating things about this. Remember I said 80% of women earning over $100,000 a year did that in network marketing. That should tell you something. Perhaps, this is one of my favorite slides because I've been involved in several companies. I've been at leadership level in 2 others before this one. And none of them had a management team like this. And one of the things I really, really love about this management team is they've all had direct in-the-field experience as a network marketer, distributor themselves, and being successful at it. So they know that they have lived in your moccasins. You know that story, if you want to understand someone live in their moccasins? Because of that, they've got your back in such an unbelievable way. And Youngevity has $1 million earners. These are just some of them. People have earned $1 million in Youngevity. And that just having a company that has a management team like that's got your back, you don't know how good it is till you've appreciated that. Obviously, we give back. It's one of the key things we do. And we're looking at New Zealand foundations to do that with. So, we believe we have it all. We've got products that everybody needs. We do have a global opportunity. We currently ship to over 65 countries, and we're opening up the globe for business. Do you want to suffer from the economy that's happening? There's no end in sight to the depression. Basically, the depression that we're on, apart from the property market, where would we be? Now, how many people, like my rates have doubled, rates and insurance have doubled in the last 13 years that I've been in this property. How many people's income has doubled in that time? There's a bad economy out there, and that's where people start to look, and they need people to hold their hands and help them be successful. And that's where we're going to shine and actually help people create their own economy. So it is a great way to help others, and we are in multi-billion-dollar markets, so people can transfer shop. So we've shown you our key message, 90 for Life. We've shown you our products, a really wide range. So if 90 for Life didn't turn you on, it does me obviously, because I've got a real passion and interest in health. But if it was scrapbooking, hey, it's there. If it's beauty and personal care, hey, it's there, and it's coming and getting bigger with the fashion and the jewelry. So you've got all sorts of options there. And we've shown you your income opportunity. So the real opportunity, it is now. And so we advise you to take action today so you can have success tomorrow. It's an obvious statement. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So the person that invited you to look at this obviously cares about you enough to want to help. So take about this before you make your decision. Ask yourself this: are you really happy with your current financial situation? Do you see that you can create what you want to in the remaining life that you've got, whatever that might be? Because we don't know what that is. Are you really happy with where you're at? And if not, hey, maybe this is it. Do you really have enough free time to do the things you enjoy with your family and friends? Or if you have the free time, do you have the money to do the things you want to do with your family and friends? And the big question that's on a lot of our minds, how prepared are you really for retirement? It's not a pretty picture when you've got no extra funds and you're relying on a $260 a week pension to pay $5,000 rates and insurance bill. Sorry, I keep harping on that. It's just an insane picture when you think about it. But so please, make a decision today. If you need to get questions answered, please do that. And I really invite you to join this team. Now, there's certain teams that are winning teams. The All Blacks, one of those. And I believe this team is going to be one of the biggest winning teams in the network marketing industry in our country for the foreseeable future. So join us. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Start using the products, experience the benefits, purchase a Mega CEO Mega Pack, complete the distributor application. You can do all that online. You don't have to do it on paper if you don't want to. And set your goals. Let us know, because we need to buy into your goals. Where else are you going to get people who have mastered this process, who are earning the kind of money that you want to earn on a monthly basis? Where on earth are you going to get that free mentorship to help you get to that same position? But we need to know your goals, because we need to know if those are goals we can stand behind. If you're not willing to fight for your goals, why should we? But if you are willing to fight for your goals, then why shouldn't we? In fact, we are financially motivated to do that, and that is the major difference between this industry and every other industry out there. So, it can be a lot of fun. These are some pictures from people that were on a recent cruise. If you get to a certain level, this cruise is free. So you can enjoy the cruise, eat as much as you like, if you like. There's Joel Wallach there on the red. He's coming up here again. 75, still going strong. No disease. Still got his own teeth, believe it or not. And, his blood pressure is something like about... no, his pulse is down around about 40. It's better than mine. Unbelievable. So he wants all of us to live long and live well. That's his plan. And he's created this whole process because, you know, he saw that as a practitioner, he could only work with, say, 100. He was working, I think he had 150 people a day, some of them in groups. For those, he used to bring all the people with blood sugar problems in at once, teach them all the same stuff, give them all the same stuff, and all the people with blood pressure. And so he brought them all at different times. And he realized that there wasn't going to be enough of him to help the whole world because the world just kept getting sicker and sicker. And that's why he created us, to create a whole army to really help him on his crusade to help people live healthy lives, help them live long and well. So here we've got some upcoming events. Get engaged with us. There are regular local weekly events in various cities in New Zealand. In Auckland, we also have Ben Fuchs here. He's the pharmacist and nutritionist coming up a weekend away. This might be past by the time you get to see this presentation. Tom and Denise Chanot, that's Scott and Juliet Fardulis' upline. They're going to be here in August. They'll travel around the country to various hotspots that we've got. September, sometime end of September, beginning of October, I believe we've got Scott and Juliet coming over, and they might have some other people as well. And remember, Scott was the trainer of the year for Youngevity this year, and he's fast-tracked it in 3 to 4 years. He's got up to an income you would be very, very delighted about, and he's the one who's training us. There are other people training us, but his is the core part of the training. And that's where, when I say we've got a real model to work with, that's where it comes in. And a very exciting event, November 6th and 7th in Auckland. Dr. Wallach will be there with several leaders. If you go to youngevitytour.com and book in for it, you can register for that now with as little as a $38 deposit and lock in your place at the $115 early bird special. So so there you have it. Get engaged with us. So I honestly hope you've loved this presentation, that you found it something that has made sense to you, and that you want to do something more with us. If not, we're completely fine with that. You have your own life to live, and if this doesn't fit into it, that's fantastic. And if it does, that's even better. So if you're one of those, I look forward to seeing you at one of our events sometime soon. Remember, get back to the person that introduced you to this and have them introduce you to one of the team so that they can answer your questions and help you get started.